Welcome to the last sewing marathon of 2024. Today I'm going to be sewing up the Meowy Catmas stocking from the Empurrium. This is the version I'm sewing up in today's video, and this is the version that I made when we were testing it. So I'm making this on-camera introduction because I need to apologize. So I decided in the video that I'm not going to do the random facts because we only had a 30-minute slot, and I thought for sure it would take me the full 30 minutes to sew up this stocking. So I left out the random facts, but when I edited the video, it was down to only 13.5 minutes. So obviously I was wrong. So I wanted to make this on-camera introduction to apologize, but we can kind of consider that my holiday gift to you. I am gifting you back 15 minutes into your life. 15 minutes that you thought you would have to spend watching me, you now can use to take a nap, go for a walk, eat some vegetables, some chocolate. You could phone a friend. The sky's the limit with that 15 minutes that you now have back in your life. So before we actually start my tutorial for this video, my tutorial with the really awkward introduction again because I didn't know I'd be on camera for this one, sorry. But before we do that, I'm going to give you some bonus random facts. Fact number 1, the camera does not add 10 pounds. Fact number 2, humans actually think they're more attractive than they really are. And fact number 3, whenever people tell you to say cheese before taking your picture, it's because it widens the face and gives you a more positive expression. Thanks so much for watching this tutorial, and let's put a comment down below as to how many people you think are going to unsubscribe from me posting this ridiculous video. Today is the very last marathon for the year 2024. I have participated in 13 of these. That is all of them that we've had, and I'm very thankful to be a part of the group and the community and get to sew up these marathons. For my very last marathon in 2024, I am choosing to sew up the Meowy Catmas stocking. This is from the Empurrium. This pattern is a really cute, quick pattern, and I've already sewn one version, and for my first version I made it kind of fun and cute, a little bit girly. I used pink fabrics with both a minky and a cotton woven, and so with this one I wanted to show that this pattern can be very classy, high-end, kind of grown-up version. So I'm using a print from Natural Nerd. This is from Jenna. She does draw all her own artwork, so this is one of her prints. And then I'm just having a candy for an accent piece. So that is the materials I'm using in this one today. All of my materials are a cotton woven, and I do have fleece on the tail and this front exterior piece. Everything else just has a medium weight interfacing like an SF-101. Everybody's videos today are only going to be 30 minutes long. The purpose of this marathon is just to give you some last minute ideas for gifts to make for the holiday season if you celebrate. Because I only have 30 minutes, I'm not going to do any of my random facts today. I'm just going to do a regular tutorial. So first things first, let's go over the pieces for this stocking and then we'll get started sewing. The first thing I have is the loop that we will hang the stocking with. This is just a piece of cotton woven, and I do have it as a 4-way fold. I have one pair of cat ears. I have 2 tail pieces. They are mirrored so I can place them right sides together. Like I said, one of them does have fleece on the back. I can go ahead and put these together right now. My front exterior is the biggest piece. I did go ahead and decide to add a decorative tag onto mine just for something a little extra, but this piece does have fleece attached to it. The tail and this piece are the only pieces that have fleece added to them. I don't have it on any of the other pieces. I do have 2 back pieces, one exterior and one lining. They have to be cut mirrored so that I can put them right sides together, and then this piece is the front lining. Just as a side note, you'll have one pattern piece that you'll cut all 3 of these out. For this one though, you will just fold down the top, so it'll be a little bit shorter than your back pieces. Now that we've went over all the pieces, let's go ahead and put the tail right sides together, and we're going to sew all around the curved edge, but we're going to leave this top portion open
That's how we're going to turn it out. After I sew it all together, I will take pinking shears and kind of go around the curves just so I can push it out and I'll have a nice curve on it. I sewed the tail right sides together. I used pinking shears to trim all around, and then I turned it out and pressed it flat. I do want to make note that I used too big of a seam allowance, so my tail's a little skinnier than it should be. Just as a note, yours won't look as skinny if you follow the seam allowance in the pattern. It was just a mistake on my part. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take out that exterior front, and we are going to place the tail on the front. Here in the curved part of the toe is what it was going to be. There's not an exact measurement because you can kind of choose how you want it and the way you want it to go. I'm going to place my tail right here. So the first thing I want to do is I want to baste it in place, and then you have a couple of options here. You could hand sew this tail onto this exterior front piece just so that you don't see any of the stitches and it doesn't kind of flatten and compress it down. You could glue it on. You could even use Velcro or snaps, whatever you want. Or you can do like I'm going to do, and I'm just going to top stitch all the way around to attach it to this front piece. So I'll start here at the bottom to baste it, and then I'll just continue going around 1/8 of an inch. So there's how that tail looks on that front exterior. I'm going to set this piece aside until I need it later. I'm going to go ahead and grab out that hanging loop, and I'm going to top stitch down both sides just 1/8 of an inch away. Now I didn't choose to interface this piece, but if you wanted to, you could. You could use ribbon, you could use webbing, whatever you wanted. Now I'm going to pull out my 2 back pieces. So for these pieces, they will be the same size but just mirrored. I'm going to take my hanging loop and I'm going to place it on the top, but I'm going to have it kind of like staggered so that all the bulk's not at one place like this. So I'll have it kind of like this so it's spread out. You can choose the placement where you want this loop to go. It could be in the middle or on the side. I think I want to put mine there on the side. I'm just going to baste that in place. I'm making sure it's not going to be in my seam allowance. Once I have that on, I'm going to take this other piece and I'm just going to place it right sides together. I did think it might be nice to add a little bit of piping here on this slip pocket, but in the end I just thought, no, it'll be cute enough on its own. I'm just going to sew it exactly the way the pattern is written. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to sew across this straight edge here. I'm not going to sew any of the rest of this. We're just sewing this right now like a slip pocket. So just that straight top edge. So now that I have that sewn around the top, I'm just going to open this up. I'm going to take the time to press this seam open, and then I'm going to place these wrong sides together, and I'm going to baste all around these edges, but it'll be a top stitch around the top. So for the basting and the top stitching, both of those will be 1/8 of an inch away. Here's how that piece looks. I'm going to set this aside until I need it a little bit later in the pattern. Now I'm going to pull out these 2 pieces that I have left. I'm going to have the cat ears, of course, at the top, and so I'm going to orientate it the way I want it to go. This is your front lining piece, and then these are the ears. We just flip them down so they are right sides together, matching all along that top edge. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to sew these on with that seam allowance given in the pattern. Now that you have the ears sewn with that front lining, what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip the ears up and I'm going to press this seam to the back. So I'm going to press that seam down to the front lining, and now I'm going to top stitch on this front lining piece to connect that seam to the front lining, and that will have the lining piece done. So we are top stitching on this lining piece, not on the ears. So now that we have this sewn together, we're going to pull out that front exterior piece. That is your bigger piece. You're going to place it right sides together. They should match up pretty well, but let's go ahead and match up at the top for sure. So for this piece, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start sewing right there where my top stitching ended. So that'll be where I start sewing. I'll go all the way around the ear, go around the other ear, and then stop where that top stitching ends here on the other side. Now that I have this part sewn together, I'm going to take my pinking shears and trim all around here, and then I'm going to flip this part out. So we'll have the finished edge here at the top, but these bottom pieces will still be a raw, unfinished edge. So after I trim, I'll push it out and then press it flat, and then we'll come back for the next step. So I turned the ears right sides out and pressed them, and just as a side note, you can see right here where it is folded in where I sewed it, and then here it is still a raw edge. That is exactly what you expect to see right now. I have it clipped together. I'm going to sew all around here. Now, if your ears were like a minky or something kind of fuzzy that the top stitching wouldn't look good, or you wouldn't even be able to see it, you don't need to top stitch. But since mine are just a cotton woven, I can top stitch and it'll just be a nice finished look. So I'm going to go all the way around this with an 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. I also trimmed up a little bit of extra bulk here at the tail. If you have any hanging over, go ahead and trim that also. So now I have this front ready, I have my back ready. It's time to just put these two pieces together. So you are going to sew the front and the back right sides together, or exteriors together. So this will be my two exterior pieces. I'm just going to put them together, match everything up. I will sew all the raw edges. So I'll start sewing here, go all the way down, back up to the other side. Of course, there's no need to close this top part. There's no need to sew up here. We want to leave the opening so that we can put all our little treats inside there. If you want to clip around here, you can. If you have a stretchy material, you would definitely want to clip, but mine's pretty solid. It's not going anywhere. So I'm going to sew with the seam line skin the pattern. I'm definitely going to back stitch when I start and stop. I talked all that mess about not needing to clip and it'll be fine, and it shifted the entire time. So definitely clip, whether you have a cotton woven or a minky. But now my stocking is done. I'm going to take the time to turn it right side out. My Meowy Catmas stocking is completely done, and this one looks even better than my first version. I love the way the colors look. Don't just consider this like maybe a young kid stocking. This is perfect for adults and for people who love cats but maybe want something a little bit more fancy or a little bit more festive hanging by their fireplace. This is adorable. I'm glad I added the tag. I felt like that was a really nice touch. I got one of my ears a little too close to the seam. It's not a problem. I'll just be more careful of that next time when I come up on that seam. The tail's super cute. I have my hanging loop here on the back. Plenty of room inside. And everything looks great with this. I love this so much. So this pattern, the Meowy Catmas stocking, is from the Empurrium. This fabric is from Natural Nerd. This fabric was just already on my shelf. I have no idea where I got it from. Tag is from Heartwood and Todd. I do feel like the fleece is a really good addition to the one piece on the top, your front exterior. My tail, I don't really know if I needed it there or not since I sewed mine on. Might not do it next time, especially since I messed up and got a little too skinny here. But other than that, this is such a cute stocking, and I can just imagine a whole home full of kitties hanging by the fireplace and just brightening up the mantle. The link for this pattern as well as the fabrics will be in my description, and I thank you for a wonderful year from 2024 for all these marathons. I could not do these without the support of the designers the other sewists, and you who watch the videos. Thank you so much for making 2024 Marathon Society a wonderful year, and I'm very much looking forward to next year. We have a lot already planned. I hope that you have a happy holiday season if you celebrate, and either way, I look forward to seeing you in the next marathon in January 2025. Thanks so much for watching, and you have an amazing day.